Representative Virginia Foxx, the Republican from North Carolina. Every now and then these people just come out and say what they're thinking, and you go, oh, really? Here she is.
I went through school. I worked my way through. It took me 7 years. I never borrowed a dime of money. We both were totally on our own. You know, I have very little tolerance for people who tell me that they graduate with $200,000 of debt or even $80,000 of debt because there's no reason for that. I remind folks all the time that the Declaration of Independence says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Mm-hmm. You don't sit on your butt and have it dumped in your lap.
Right. Now, this is Representative Foxx is considerably older than I am guessing. And I'm old enough to remember back in the late 60s, early 70s, when you could go to college in the United States for free in many parts of this country. I mean, literally for free. The University of California was free, or for so cheap that, and I've said this a million times, my wife worked her way through college working as a waitress in a Howard Johnson's part-time. And I didn't complete college. In fact, I didn't even complete the full first year, and went to two different ones. But to the extent that I did, I worked my way through college, working as a dishwasher and then a cook at Bob's Big Boy, working at a gas station, pumping gas and inflating tires and changing tires, and working as a minimum wage DJ at WITL AM and FM, Lansing, Michigan. This is all when I was 17. Back then you could go to college, you could work your way through school. In fact, I've kept in touch over the years with a lot of the people that I knew in college. I used to, we started a business in the early 70s, and a number of them came to work with me. And I don't know anybody who had student loans, who had student debt. There might have been a few. I mean, it might have been, some of the folks in the medical school or some in the longer-term programs, veterinary school, something like that. But actually, even one of my roommates, he's just retired a few months ago, or maybe a year ago, as he was a urological surgeon, a kidney surgeon, and he was fond of nitrous oxide. I remember that well. And in any case, to the best of my knowledge, he had no student loans. It was like you could go to school back when Virginia Foxx was a kid. You could work your way through school, You just can't do that anymore. I challenge anybody to work their way through a public university, and presumably that's what we're talking about. To work your way through a public university as a waiter or a waitress at the equivalent of a Howard Johnson. I don't know if Hojos are still in business, but whatever the modern incarnation is, TGI Fridays. You really think you can put yourself through school that way? It's just astounding. And then welfare recipients should be required to work, right? You're married, you got a couple of kids, your husband leaves you, or your wife leaves you with the kids, or gets sick, or dies, or gets hit by a bus, and you need some help. And Mitt Romney says, nah, you can't just raise those kids. Sorry, you got to work too.
While I was governor, 85% of the people on a form of welfare assistance in my state had no work requirement. And I wanted to increase the work requirement. I said, for instance, that even if you have a child 2 years of age, you need to go to work. And people said, well, that's heartless. And I said, no, I'm willing to spend more giving daycare to allow those parents to go back to work. It'll cost the state more providing that daycare, but I want the individuals to have the dignity of work.
There's a lot of dignity working at Walmart. Don't you know? Flipping burgers. I mean, I can tell you, when I was 17, well, in fact, the summer when I was 16, I picked apples up in White Cloud, Michigan to save some money. I was a migrant farm worker. living in a trailer that we had refashioned. Myself and a friend of mine, we had refashioned out of an old U-Haul trailer. I mean, like an 8 by 10 foot U-Haul trailer. We had turned it into a thing that we could sleep in. And we were living in this thing and picking apples up in White Cloud, Michigan, in northern Michigan, north of Grand Rapids, for that summer, or for much of that summer. And I'll tell you, those migrant workers, that's hard work. And you get paid by the lug, which is like a giant bag or it's more than a bushel. But in any case, that's, great work experience. I think it was, a fine and marvelous thing. 16, 17, 18 years old, get out there and change tires, work as a dishwasher, work as a waiter, work as flipping burgers as a cook, work as a DJ. That was, that's one of the reasons I'm here on the radio right now. But somebody who's in their 20s and trying to raise their kids, and they have had some experience in the workplace, or you want to take their children away from them and put them in daycare so that they can have the experience of the dignity of work, when most of the jobs today are dead-end jobs that pay very poorly. It's like all of these Republicans are living in the 50s or the 60s or they're living in the pre-Reagan era in their minds, and they want everybody who's living today to live in that area, in that era. Only it doesn't exist anymore. I mean, back then, back before Reagan, one person could raise a family with a decent paycheck. I mean, my dad working in a tool and die shop raised me and my 3 brothers. And my mom, I mean, she didn't even have a driver's license. She wouldn't have been able to vote today. But you can't do that today. GM, Ford, Chrysler, they're hiring now instead of hiring at a decent wage that you can raise a family at, they're hiring at $15 an hour. And I defy you to raise a family at $15 an hour, or for that matter, even put yourself through college. And then women on unemployment. Ed Gillespie goes on to Fox News to say, Obama's responsible for all these women being unemployed. The last unemployment figures showed that there are more women unemployed recently than men. Well, yeah, that's true, because the early people who lost their jobs were all the manufacturing jobs, and now it is more service industry jobs. Here's Ed Gillespie getting slapped down by Fox.
858,000 women have lost their jobs since President Obama took office. 92.3% of the job loss in this recession or slow recovery, stifled recovery, have fallen on women. We have the highest level of...
You know that, I mean, it is true that more women have lost jobs, and it's true that more women are without jobs now.
Yeah.
But it is not true that 90%, they did under Obama,
yes,
but many, many more men, because they're in the job sectors that people lose jobs first, lost jobs under President Bush. So, I mean, it's a little bit of an accounting trick, and all of the independent fact finders have said it's misleading.
It's misleading. You know that your Romney talking points are in deep trouble when, as the Romney surrogate, you go on Fox News and Chris Wallace, a Fox toady, slaps you down. You know you've got a problem. If Fox News calls you a liar, you're really a liar. At least if you're putting out Republican talking points and they call you a liar.